Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is the sequel to the 90s classic starring Robin Williams, and this time it stars The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan, with some other few, and this tells the story of 4 kids who find themselves in detention for different ways, and they find a video game console from many years ago. It looks ancient, it looks weird, and they start a game called Jumanji. They are transported into this video game, and they find themselves in the bodies of the avatars that they chose, being portrayed by the main actors in this film of The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan, and so they have to actually be in this game and play it, taking real risks that you would take in the video game. I'm a huge fan of the classic Jumanji film. I watch that film all the time, literally. Even today, after watching that film, my mom asked me, "Do you remember watching Jumanji all the freaking time?" And I said, yes, I love that film, and I still love it. And this film takes a very different approach, but an approach that really fits the evolution of times, so much so that this film, without spoilers in the beginning, quickly manifests how people stopped caring about table games that much and really connected to the video games, not even in this day and age, but more in days of old. And where this film excels at is at taking the tropes and conventions of what a video game is and really push them into the story and into the mechanics of how the movie works. These characters have lives on their wrists. They are marked. They have 3 lives each, and they have to go from level to level. They have to communicate with non-playable characters. They have to find information, and then that information cuts into cutscenes, and that is very well utilized in the film, and it's utilized to a lot of fun. It's utilized to a lot of intriguing action, to a lot of plot developing. Yes, it's exposition, but because of the mechanic and the way they use it, it finds itself a little more interesting than conventional exposition. The Rock and Jack Black are definitely the highlights of the film, as they are the ones that play not necessarily the roles you are expecting. The Rock in real life is this very unsecured kid who is basically being bullied by a former friend to do his homework and stuff, and when he finds himself in this huge body and these huge muscles that he has in the body of The Rock, and finding himself thinking in some ways and talking in some ways that he doesn't necessarily talk in, it's very, very funny. It's used very well for comedic purposes, and so does Jack Black, who plays the most annoying girl ever, who was actually at Comic-Con Portugal today. She introduced the film, but the character herself, Bethany, is extremely annoying. Her first scene, I was like, I hate this girl. But she does actually have a compelling arc throughout the film, and Jack Black does not only portray the comedic stuff very well, he portrays the arc of the character very well. They are definitely the two who have the highlight moments, but I need to talk about Karen Gillan, who I'm a huge fan of since Doctor Who, since she was Amy Pond. I'm a huge fan of her as Nebula, even though nobody else is, and I really liked how she was utilized in the film. I still remember the first picture of the film being released and everybody complaining that she was being used as a sex symbol and whatnot. The film actually does take that into account and really makes fun and takes jab at the way female characters are portrayed, be it in film or in video games, because she is in this jungle, she is fighting, and she using these short shorts and this little vest made of leather that is not necessarily the best clothings for fighting or hanging out in the jungle, but her character is very interesting. The way her character is an asset to the team is very interesting. And Kevin Hart, I really like the guy, and I think he has immense chemistry with The Rock, and in this, he still does, because he is playing the guy who bullies The Rock's real-life counterpart. And so when you have this guy in his little body, he's always asking, where's the other half of me? He does play those tropes really into stride. It really works, but after a while, it just starts being Kevin Hart all over again, and it feels pretty much the same, despite the excellent chemistry that he has with The Rock. But the whole team does have excellent chemistry throughout the film, and the film does have some great action sequences and a very intriguing story that is not necessarily deep or layered, but it does have a few more layers that you might expect. There was one surprising element in this film that I did not expect, and no, it's not Nick Jonas. I was expecting him to be in the film, but what he does is actually pretty surprising to me. The other part is not necessarily that good. Where Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle falters the most is how the mechanics of a video game do falter sometimes because of what I said, of cutting into cutscenes, of communicating with non-playable characters. Sometimes it feels like the writers just found themselves trapped and they didn't realize what non-playable characters should do anymore, or how other people that are not in the actual game, in the actual screen as you are playing a video game, they did not realize what those characters should be doing, or if they should be doing anything at all, because if you're not on screen during a video game, you're not doing anything. You're just loading or waiting to be loaded. And so some of the stuff that happens in the film is kind of contradictory to the rest that is happening. And there are some points where the CGI is most noticeable, especially nearing the end, when there are too many spectacular things going on, let's just say that. But this film is very fun, it's very self-aware, and it embraces the fact that it has such a legacy in the original Jumanji. That is a very subtle, touching, and well done tribute to Robin Williams himself. There is a very honorable way in which they pick up from the original film and transport us into this new one through a video game, through a very different way of playing Jumanji, or in this case, being the game that it is, being forced to play Jumanji. But honestly, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is a very nice surprise. It does feel like a video game movie in the best way. It feels like Jake Kasdan and the writers really nailed what a video game film should be, in the mechanics, in how the story progresses, in how the characters work within this film. The Rock is excellent once more. I just love this man to death. I couldn't love this man more. He's my role model in life. All the cast is great. The story is compelling to surprising levels. It falters here and there, but it's just a great time watching it. And I will say that Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is a martini. A good time, anytime. What did you think of Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? What is your relationship with the original Jumanji starring Robin Williams? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. I'm interviewing a lot of people at Comic-Con Portugal. I hope I can put those interviews up all until Sunday. Let's hope for the best. I'm interviewing Simon Merrills and Clark Gregg, maybe Dominic Purcell, and I am sure interviewing Joe Reitman for Happy. Can't wait to bring you all those. Thank you once more, and so until then, you stay beautiful, you stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so you can be geeky united!